I worked against Atiku, says Fayose. The former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, says he has no regrets. The PDP also said he was not afraid of being kicked out of the party for making the disclosure. He said he supported President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress based on principle. He made the revelation when he featured on Politics Today on Channels Television yesterday, Sunday night. Fayose said, I worked, in his words, I worked against him. That is talking about Atiku Abubakar. 100%. Nigeria is bigger than the PDP, APC, and even Ashwaju himself. Let us call a spade a spade. I am not a man that will hide my action. If PDP doesn't need me again, they cannot say I cannot leave. And this is one man that we all know is outspoken. You could remember during his time as the governor of Ekiti State, he was so critical of the former president Muhammadu Buhari. He never kept quiet. Whatever it is that he should say, he will come out and say it without mincing words. And he is still courageous and bold enough to come out to say he is a member of the PDP, but he worked against the candidate of the PDP. So this calls to make me start wondering that what is actually anti-party? What do we look at anti-party as? And what, in the first place, why would you even belong to a political party without believing in the ideology? Because I believe that every candidate that a political party will bring as their standard bearer should be able to align with the principle, the belief, the concept of that political party. And every member also should be able to align with such political belief or ideology of that party. But if you still belong to that political party and working against the political party, then where does issue of ideology comes to be? And in fact, are you really a member of that political party? So you could start to look at some of these things. And he said he worked for President Bola Tinubu because he is a principled man. So I believe he should be moving to the APC if at all he believes that he's going to have what he wants or the principle that he so finds that is not seen in the PDP. However, that is also his own opinion. We all have our different opinion. He could be a member of the PDP, he could be a member of the APC or the Labour Party. It depends on his choice. It is a freedom of association, which is a fundamental human right. But let's go back to the crux of this story and look at what he said completely. He said he remained a member of the PDP, except the PDP says, Fayose, we don't want you anymore. Then they have set me free of the yoke. But in all sincerity, it is a party that I believe in, subscribe to, and want to stay forever. I will never join APC. This is what he concludes by saying, wow, he would never join APC. We have seen a lot of politicians saying they will not leave this party A for B or party B for C, but we, at the end of the day, see quite a number of different things happening, different things panning out, cross-carpeting here and there. Because in politics, I believe there is no permanent friend, but permanent interest. Wherever their personal interest will be served, that is where they move. So, Nigerians, you can also call and be part of this conversation. Let's hear what you have to say concerning this particular story. Ayodele Fayose saying he has no regret in working for against his own political party candidate, talking about Atiku Abubakar. So, in your words, what do you term as anti-party? What do you term as political party ideology? If somebody will come out boldly and say he worked against his party, then I think we are having a kind of difficult way to understand what really political party represent or stand for, or the ideology. The number to call 070, I beg your pardon, 070 001 0961 961 0700 010 961 961. That is the number you can call and be part of this conversation this morning. Whatever it is that you want to say concerning this particular bold claim by Fayose, former Ekiti State Governor, that he worked against his own political party standard bearer, talking about Atiku Abubakar, and he supported Bola Tinubu of the APC, which is a rival party for that reason. You can call in, or you send SMS, or you call us via the WhatsApp portal, or drop your WhatsApp message. We are here. Certainly we will give your messages a voice, and if it is a call, fine, we will put you through, and your opinion matters. We are very much interested in what you feel and what you think and what you will say on this platform. That is what we call Voice of the People. Now you have a voice. All right, let's move to another story that says ministerial appointments, National Assembly awaits nominees as Tinubu sends list to DSS, EFCC, and others. All right, let's go to the details of this particular story. Expectations on the ministerial list have heightened as President Bola Tinubu clocks over 40 days in office. By law, Tinubu is required to name his cabinet within 60 days after taking the oath of office on May 29 and transmit it to the Senate for confirmation, with less than 18 days to submit his cabinet list to the National Assembly as recommended by the Constitution. Lawmakers and other Nigerians are anxiously waiting for the lists of ministers who would help to deliver the president's renewed hope agenda. I'm sure you're also wondering. You can't wait to see the names that will be on that list. Multiple National Assembly sources said the federal parliament was awaiting Tinubu's ministerial list, with some expressing worry over the delay. Yeah, we might express worry over the delay, but we also remember that it took President Muhammadu Buhari over almost 6 months before we had a cabinet. So although now the Constitution stipulates it clearly, you have to give us cabinet 60 days into you after you take oath of office. You have to do that, and Tinubu is also on that particular way or path. The lawmakers who chose to speak on condition of anonymity to avoid possible backlash said they did not expect a further delay in the list. Meanwhile, a Punch confirmed on Sunday evening that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Department of State Services, DSS, and some security agencies were on the verge of completing their mandatory checks on the list. It was gathered that the Department of State Services and members of the Presidential Strategic Team were running final checks on the people who had been listed as possible ministers. Multiple presidency sources said the list would be released very soon. Meanwhile, Honorable Alex Egbona, Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream in the 9th Assembly, said that the president was still within the time frame, unlike before when there were delays. He said he hopes that the president will submit this Tuesday or upper Tuesday. Also, Honorable Ugo Chinyere Ikenga, a member of the House of Representatives from Imo State, said Nigerians were worried but believe that the president will send the list soon. He also said he believed it will not be like the past when ministers were appointed after 6 months. Meanwhile, a former chief of staff to the former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, Mr. Uche Nwosu, has advised President Bola Tinubu to ensure that his ministerial list is made up of 60% of technocrats from the private sector and 40% of politicians. He gave this advice during a virtual news conference on Sunday in Abuja. He noted that this will ensure a productive and vibrant cabinet. He said, we believe that we will have ministers who will represent Nigeria and not ministers who are coming to say they are ministers representing their states. That is very key. And you could also share with us your thought. What do you think, or what is your ideal candidate as a minister? Do you go with the 60% technocrat and 40% politicians, or you prefer politicians all through, or you want to have technocrat to man the affairs of Nigeria, especially talking about the cabinet comprising of the ministers who will also support the president in actualizing his renewed hope mandate for a better Nigerians. The number to call 0700 010 961 961 0700 010-961-961. That is the number you can call and be part of this conversation. You can either call normal call or you send SMS. Perhaps you may want to use the WhatsApp platform. You can do that. You call via WhatsApp or you drop your message there. I will give your message a voice. And we are also streaming live on YouTube. You can watch what we do live on YouTube, and also follow us on our social media handle VOP961 at VOP961. We're live on Twitter and also Instagram. You can also listen to us on Radio Box. All right, we have taken 2 headlines so far. And the first one, we say Fayose, who is saying that he's not regretting working against Atiku Abubakar, and that is talking about his own political party. And now we have looked at ministerial appointment, National Assembly await nominees as Tinubu sent list to DSS, EFCC, and others. So let's still stay within line and take a look at this one that concerns virtually every Nigerian. You know, when we talk about subsidy, we talk about fuel. It's something that draw a lot of attention from so many quarters. Monthly fuel consumption drops by 18.5 million liters after deregulation, according to federal government. It is contained on the Punch newspaper, and we will also take a look at this. The volume of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, that was consumed across the country in the first half of 2023 is 11.26 billion liters, the federal government has said. And it was, however, observed that after the removal of subsidy on petrol, following the pronouncement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the day he took office, that is talking about May 29, the PMS consumption reduced by an average of about 18.5 million liters daily in June. Data obtained on Sunday from the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in Abuja showed that between January 1st and May 28, 2023, which was pre-deregulation period, that was before the removal of fuel subsidy, the total amount of petrol consumed nationwide was about 9.9 billion liters. And the average consumption for the 148 days period was put at 66.9 million liters. That is on a daily basis, average consumption, indicating the country consumed an average of 69.9 million liters of petrol daily during the 5-month period when subsidy on petrol was still in place. But figures from the federal government agency indicated that between June 1st to June 28th, 2023, which was described as the post-subsidy removal period, the total petrol consumption across the country was 1.36 billion liters, while the average daily consumption was put at 48.43 million liters. So there is this reduction in consumption of our daily PMS consumption. There is a decline with about 18 million liters, which a lot of people will start asking why this sudden decrease. It should not be far from the perceived manipulation of figures in terms of the number of liters Nigerians consume. And also the price is also another factor. A lot of people don't get to purchase as much as they used to, and movement is now restricted, not restricted per se, but limited. Yeah, that's the word to use. Movement is now limited because a lot of people don't get to move around like they used to. You have to make a budget and serious plans before you start making movement. And an analysis of the data by correspondent of Punch newspaper showed that the difference between the average monthly consumption figure during the pre-deregulation and post-deregulation period was about 18.5 million liters, and this implies that the average daily consumption of petrol across the country reduced. And it was, however, observed that petrol consumption rose above 100 million liters in some days, while it fell to below 10 million liters in few other days. A random peak of petrol consumption figure contained in the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority report, for instance, showed that on March 8th, April 20th, and May 16th, Nigerians consumed 103.6 million liters, 105 million liters, and also 101 million liters respectively. So that is in March. On March 8th, it was 103.6 million liters. On April 20th, it was 105 million liters. And on May 16th, it was pegged at 101.9 million liters, which is above the average consumption that we know. So these were during the pre-deregulation days, as figures from the post-deregulation period indicated that the country never consumed beyond 78.8 million liters all through the 28 days period captured in the documents. In fact, the 78.84 million liters was consumed on June 20th, and it was the highest consumption figure during the post-deregulation period, while the lowest figure during the same period was 470,000 liters that was consumed nationwide on June 11. Probably, I don't know, as a result of a day before the June 12 public holiday. That was why a lot of people decided to stay back, and it was having this number of liters, very, very minimal, 470,000, not even up to a million liter on that particular day, talking about June 11. And there are also people who are making their own claims and sharing their own opinion as to why this is happening. And the president, Nigerian Association of Energy Economics, Professor Yinka Omorogbe, said the fuel subsidy regime created avenues for terrible practices. There had been repeated complaints by both the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and oil marketers that Nigeria's petrol was being smuggled out of the country to neighboring nations during the period when the commodity was subsidized. Omorogbe, who spoke to journalists in Abuja, said while announcing forthcoming 16th annual conference of the Nigerian Association of Energy Economists in Abuja, said the removal of fuel subsidies was a right step despite the harsh impact. So you may want to share your own thought with us on this particular headline. Do well to call the studio line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. And moving on this morning, another headline that is here is says government to shut online banks pestering debtors. Government to shut online banks pestering debtors. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, that is FCCPC, said it will delist any loan application harassing customers and ask Google to permanently delete such apps from its app store. This was in response to the continued harassment and defamation being meted on Nigerians by these digital lenders. It was also the newest measure implemented by the federal government to protect Nigerians from the activities of these digital lenders. Earlier in the year, the FCCPC mandated loan apps to register with it. So far, 180 apps had got full or conditional approval from the commission to operate in the country. Google also recently announced that loan apps would not be allowed on its app store without regulatory approval. In April, Google announced that loan apps on Play Store would lose their ability to access users' contact or photos from May 31st, 2023. Despite this, loan apps had continued to harass customers. I know a lot of Nigerians can relate to this particular issue because so many complaints here and there as a result of this loan. But again, you should ask yourself, what is the rate of our payment? Start talking about our loan repayment, the culture of loan repayment in Nigeria, because this will also take me to start thinking on if, for instance, a government wants to create an avenue to support Nigerians in terms of loan. Let's take, for instance, the student loan that will be given. If you are going to use some of the response you're getting from this loan app in terms of our debt repayment in Nigeria, I'm not sure the government will be happy to give out loan to Nigerians. Some Nigerians, not all Nigerians, to some Nigerians, because what the information that is obtainable or available concerning loan repayment in Nigeria is very low. I could recall the NISAR also loan that was given, COVID-19 NISAR loan that was given, also struggled in terms of repayment, especially some of them had to use the BVN. BVN is helping in terms of loan repayments now, but it depends on how people operate. A lot of people, especially in this our society, will tell you that if government gives support, that one and our own part of the national cake. That is how people call it. We are getting our own part of the national cake. It is our money. How is it your money? It is Nigeria's money. So if you are being supported with any amount of money, make sure you try to repay. I'm not justifying what the loan apps are doing. Very, very wrong. Absolutely wrong. Invading people's privacy. It is against the privacy law. You cannot just start harassing people because they borrow from you. You cannot be blacklisting them, taking their pictures and their contacts, and also defaming their character and tarnishing their image. If you see some of the messages that are shared on social media, very horrific messages, horrible messages, using people's picture to say that you're wanted. Some are involved in accident, some are this and that. A lot of funny messages and pictures making around from those loan apps. So this is going to also control how they harass people. But also, I will also say that if you borrow, make sure you repay timely. If you are not going to repay timely, make sure you get in touch with them, just like you get in touch with them when you were collecting, and so that they will also stay in business. I'm not advocating for them, but we have to balance the story. That is what we do on Voice of the People. We speak we speak for the voiceless. Yes, if you feel you are not being treated fairly by this loan app, try to look at also what you are doing or what you did before that treatment come. I'm not justifying that treatment, but you have to pay your loan. All right, let's move on this morning to this headline. Is also contained on the Punch newspaper. Tinubu emerges ECOWAS chair, rallies members against coup in Africa. Don't forget that at 7:30 we will be linking up with our guest analyst Fayose, who will also share some more light on these headlines that we have today. Tinubu on Sunday in Guinea-Bissau emerged the chairman of the authorities of heads of state and government of the Economic Community of West African State, ECOWAS. In his remarks, the Nigerian leader called on ECOWAS to stand firm on democracy, declaring that we will not accept coup after coup in West Africa again. Democracy is very difficult to manage, but it is the best. All right, but it is the best form of government. Although it's time for us to link up with our guest analyst in person of Rufai Hussaini. When we link up with him, sure, we will get details of that and more on him, or with him rather, on that particular segment. Don't forget you're listening to Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja, and you're listening to the front page review for Monday morning. I hope your Monday is moving fine, even though it's still early, but hope it's moving fine. Hello, good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. Good morning. I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Yes.
Even though we didn't get to see when you came, I wasn't around.
Yeah, it's just you said you're high. I'm like,
I didn't get that.
They said you said hi to me.
Yeah, of course I did.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. All right, thanks for coming. Yes, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
All right, we have a couple of headlines to look at this morning. One is an outright claim by former Ekiti State Governor who said, I worked against Atiku, says Fayose, and he's saying he has no regret for doing that. And also, another one is ministerial appointment. National Assembly awaits nominees as Tinubu sent lists to DSS, EFCC, and others. And a lot of Nigerians are saying they can't wait for the list to come, while some are suggesting that the list should comprise of technocrats 60% and politicians 40%. I know you may want to share your own opinion on that. And also, monthly fuel consumption drops by 18.5% million liters rather, after subsidy removal. And if time permits, though, we should be able to look at this. Also, Tinubu emerged chairman of ECOWAS. So those are the headlines that we will be looking at this morning.
Ogali.
Yes, sir.
Ogali.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
One. Yeah, 1-1.
All right, so let's start with Fayose. Ayodele Fayose. I worked against Atiku, says Fayose. Former governor of Ekiti State says he has no regrets working 100% against the presidential ambition of the People's Democratic Party candidate Atiku Abubakar in the build-up to the February election. He said he supported Tinubu based on the fact that Tinubu is a principled person.
I just tell the story. Why if you have the right to support anybody but no.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear?
Okay, I can barely hear you because it's cracking. Really, the network is not allowing us to have a smooth conversation.
Fine. I remove the halt. There's a halt.
Yeah, I've done that already.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, better. Go ahead. Thank you.
Let's remove the halt back.
Yeah.
I've said this thing the third time. Yeah. So, Fayose has the right. Mr. Fayose has the right to make a decision. Nobody should crucify him for that. If he chooses to do anti-party activity, which what he thought is anti-party, that's his own prerogative. And if the PDP chooses not to be able to punish him for anti-party activity, that's their prerogative. So nobody should vilify him for deciding to go against the candidate of the party. Guess what? Politicians are not loyal. Loyalty is not a word in the dictionary of a lot of politicians. You know why?
No.
They are only loyal to their bread is being buttered. So, if any politician feels it is in my best political interest or because I'm at loggerheads with a certain political party, then I go to another political party. That's his prerogative. That's his, he made his decision. So I don't think there should be any pose about it. Concerning ministerial.
Okay, before you go into that, let me say something about this Fayose issue, not directly to him, but holistically concerning political parties in Nigeria. I was meant to understand that political party should have an ideology, and whosoever that belongs to that party, that's talking about the members, should be able to align with the ideology of that party. So if at all it is his right to belong to, talking about freedom of association, he has that fundamental human right. But what is the place of political party in Nigeria in terms of ideology?
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Let me help you think. What's the ideology of the PDP? Center right or center left? What's the ideology of the PDP?
In Nigeria, basically, you don't predict where they belong because you could see them having center right or
No. So I'm asking you a question. So what's the political ideology of the PDP? Okay, what's that of the APC?
Far left.
Far left? No, the APC is not far left. The APC is not far left. Because with their pro-capital markets now, the APC is not far left.
But
the APC is looking more like a centralized party. Because they are pro-capitalist decisions.
That is for the Tinubu administration.
So, no, even wait a minute. Even before, the APC calls it progressive. Yeah. That's sort of like a center ideology. All right. So you can see. I know. I'm just deliberately asking you that question to help your thinking.
Yeah.
You can see there's no magic factor actually that's the ideology of the political parties. So that proves to you that there's nothing called political ideology
in Nigeria
as we speak today. But let me take you back historically.
Okay.
There used to be. The action group was the proper left. Proper left. You know what the action group did?
No.
A lot of social investment programs. Was a proper leftist party. That's why you see that somebody like Awolowo could spend up to 1/3 of his budget on free education. A lot of people fail to realize that Awolowo actually spent 1/3 of his budget. Just thinking about it now gives me goosebumps. On free education in the Western region. That was a purely leftist party. But in this turn to democratic era, ideology past gone. Most of them are tilting almost towards the same ideology. You can't call APC that left because they gave palliative. So,
But that's what they believe. They
because when you check the
is-
hang on, hang on a minute, when you check the PDP too,
Mm.
palliative too is short. So the talk about political ideology doesn't. The only ideology that exists now in Nigerian politics is pocket ideology and position ideology. Which politicians now look for which party that if they're empowered they can give me position and I can use that to amass wealth. So there is no quote unquote ideology. Okay, just like let me take you to America. I don't know if you're getting my explanation.
yeah, of
Let me
course,
take
I'm
you
getting
to England for it. The Labour Party, you know, they are left,
yeah.
center left. The Tory Party, center right. Clear demarcation.
Mm.
Tory pro business, Labour pro people. But when you check most politicians, they almost think as Atiku is pro business, Tinubu is thinking to pro business.
Yes.
So there's no clear cut party idea. I think I've been able to absolve you of that. That's why I deliberately asked you those questions. What do you say is political ideology? All of that. You can see that when you now check policies, there's not too much departure. And that's why you see that when you check the manifesto of all the political parties this last election, all of them put up almost similar.
Yes.
They all said they were going to do the same thing. There was no really clear departure. They all said they were going to pull out subsidies. Didn't they?
They said.
So they all said they were going to ignite business. They were all very pro business in their outlook. Simple. So the only ideology that exists is that of party ideology. That's why you see now that the ministerial slot is a big deal for them. But what we should do with the ministerial slot is, I know politicians want to reward people that work for them, so name and mention, but the truth is, let's also uphold competence. And if you are not being going on the line of competence now, then it will become problem for Nigeria. Because people need a lot of competence and a lot of unusual thinking to bring Nigeria out of this situation we are in. We need a lot of unusual thinking to bring us out of this our usual economic quagmire, because Nigeria is always here. And that is after Nigeria makes a lot of money. In 83 we were here after we made so much money in the 70s that the ones that the money is not the problem is not money but how to spend it. But at 83 we were hitting. So we're exactly where we were 40 years ago. 83 we were here with the economic downturn like this and all of that. 83 and 9 that we had hit a recession, then now we have just come out of a recession. You get?
Yeah.
So that's not about that. More competence as regards the ministerial list. I know politicians will favor people that work for them. What was the other question?
All right. Tinubu emerged ECOWAS chair.
Oh yeah, good. I mean, Nigeria is one of the biggest ECOWAS. The 15 members that was started in 1975. A couple of the laws were ratified in 1993. He has an agenda called the Agenda 2015. And the ECOWAS area is about over 5 million square kilometers of land, and it's got a sizable amount of people. I think about close to 300 to 400 million people in the right, and out of that, Nigeria takes like half of the number. So Nigeria is the biggest player. It's taken over from President Bali, but all of this in consonance with the reality ECOWAS faces. Today, ECOWAS faces a lot of problems with food security. The 2019 numbers were very stark. I think across the ECOWAS belt, over 4,000 people were killed due to insurgency, and the number keeps increasing. So how can ECOWAS stop the problem of insecurity? Bring about reforms in government. So for the Vision 2050 of ECOWAS, they're talking about digital government, accountability, making processes better, and overall increasing the GDP per capita. So the area is blessed. All right, ECOWAS area is blessed with a lot of land, a lot of extractive minerals, but there are so much problems confronting ECOWAS, and just like the problems with coups, what happened in Mali and the like, and those are the problems we'll settle with. Congratulations to him on his chair of ECOWAS.
All right, let's take a look at this one that says Yari not invited for ignoring Tinubu's phone call, according to DSS. I'm driving somewhere with this headline. The DSS, through its spokesperson Peter Afunanya, disclosed that the the agency, talking about the DSS, worked according to law and order. Whatever they do is based on what is obtainable according to the constitution, in that they don't just go after people without any reason. Talking about doing or following the law and order, do you think they are still following law and order, considering the fact that Godwin Emefiele has been in their custody without charging him to court? So also Abdulaziz Bawa, Abdurrashid Bawa, the suspended boss of EFCC. So what would you say about this particular claim by the DSS, talking about following due process, and they also have other persons in their custody without charging them to court?
I don't think the DSS has followed law and order, because they brought charged Emefiele and Bawa to the court. I don't think so. When the DSS say they're following law and order, I look and I say, what is happening? But let me tell you also, the DSS will prove it to you that they're following law and order, because there's a very draconian law called ACJA, Administration of Criminal Justice Act, was the last bill President Jonathan signed in office in 2015. And that law pretty much says you can keep somebody in an investigation for a while as long as you get a permit by the magistrate. So what the DSS and Security Authority normally do is they take the signature of the magistrate in the permit note, they just keep changing the dates. So if you ask them, they'll tell you they've gotten a permit from the court that says they can keep these people, but it doesn't make it right. And that's why we must review ACJA, because the Constitution says that you must not keep someone for more than 24 hours or 48 hours without charging them to court.
Yeah.
So, but it's not right what they're doing. It looks to me like a big political witch hunt. And why I would say it looks like a political witch hunt is because everywhere President Tinubu keeps going, he keeps talking about Emefiele. On 2 occasions, he's talked about the fact CBN was rotten. In fact, he even said that in a foreign language, which I think was wrong. You don't go and, on the map. So, as a president of the nation, you went abroad and called your central bank rotten. That's wrong, because people will see these things and then in another forum, he also mentioned how they took money off, skated money and all of that. So from those 2 statements, you can infer that definitely there's a big one, Emefiele, based on that. But concerning Abdurrashid, what's his name? Concerning Yari,
okay.
And so what I said for also applies to Bawa.
Okay.
You need to let the law take its course, charge Bawa to court. Let's see what Bawa. But when you also look at the antecedents, look at the case of Maguti today. They just Salami panel report has never been released to what Magu really did. So it's sad that EFCC bosses always live in a very questionable stance or a very questionable period. But concerning the case of Yari, to a large extent, a lot of people also see a political slant to it. Because prior to Yari running for the Senate presidency, Yari had cases, a litany of cases with him. So all of us, prior to him running for Senate presidency, he wasn't picked up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, after running for Senate presidency, those cases were revisited. And in fact, it's not only Yari that had cases. You remember Fabio still had cases with him. Yes. But all of a sudden, that has been forgotten now. So there are political angles to it. But in DSS defense, if they say it's not because the answer or that's their defense, but also there are political angles to this situation. Because today a lot of people will say, how far with Fabio's case, for instance?
Yeah.
How far? Although Ali Ndume came on television once and said, he's been cleared of all the cases and all of that. But there was a report at some point in February that Fabio was still even invited, conference, the EFCC and all of that. So it's just very sad how Nigeria now works. If you're on the good side of the powers, you will be exonerated from everything. But if you go against them, you fall in their trap, to mess you up. And I can equally empirically bolster my statement by reiterating what the former chairman of the APC says, that if you join Adams Oshomo, that if you join the APC, your sins are what?
Forgiven.
And that's the sad reality, which doesn't make it right.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, there's this headline on the Punch newspaper. It has 2 sides of the story. Government to shut online banks pestering debtors. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has said it will delist any loan application harassing customers and ask Google to permanently delete such apps from its store. Yes, we are not hearing this for the first time in Nigeria. A lot of loan apps harass customers, violate their privacy in terms of using a lot of some of their information to go against them, all in their bid to retrieve their money. And also, if we look at it from the other side, in terms of Nigeria's loan repayment is also key. So I want you to look at both sides, on the part of the loan apps people, and also in terms of loan repayment as a problem for us in Nigeria. What would you say about the two?
So two things. On the part of the loan app, yeah, they are wrong for violating the rights and the privacy of people and the harassment, which is wrong, and federal anti-competition should be able to step into that. But on the part of the people, if you take loans too, also learn to repay your loans. In generality, the increase of loans, the creation of the state of the, which is very sad. And now people that they take the loan, they delete the app, they move on to the next loan app. There are people that it's not only one loan app they own like 7 loan apps.
Wow.
Very careful. It's not right. Because these are businesses too. That brought loans into the country to help people and make their own profit. And you are destroying their businesses. So I think the blame goes round to everybody.
All right, and finally, this one is on Vanguard newspaper that talks about security. 12 killed in fresh attacks on Plateau communities, that is in Plateau State. And also on Saturday, there was another attack in Benue, Okum local government in Benue, that got at least 30 people lost their life, while some are still receiving treatment. The issue of insecurity is also one that Nigerian government needs to contend with. What do you think, with the change of service chiefs, the leadership of Nigeria security architecture, what do you think the government should do differently to get us out of the woods? And how, I know you are a tech expert, AI to be precise, I know you dive in that a lot. What would we do, or what should we do as a nation to utilize AI in terms of aiding our security, fight against insecurity?
In all fairness, I think it's not that we don't have drones. In all fairness, I think we've not just had the will to be able to solve the problem. And we can't keep saying because certain ethnic groups are feeling we should not fight them out, which is wrong. We can't keep saying that it is wrong, absolutely wrong. Because that was shown that what is currently happening is that the current governor Mufwang, that's from his local government area, and he's been shouting about this insecurity. And no aid has been given for this insecurity. Look also what happened in Benue.
Yeah.
So what we can be able to facilitate, we bring a stop to all of this. We can't keep favoring people. We can't keep favoring people that are killing other people. Society. And that matter is deeper than that. And you know it's along tribal lines. And it's been off since 2017. I was having a copious interview with somebody yesterday in the booth. I was telling me about how since 2017 they used to donate to aid agencies and clothes to internally displaced camps. And guess what? It's under what's happening in remote areas. I'm happy media shines the light on it, but also government must do something as regards this insecurity. We can't continue for it to be this way. You can have a lot of technology, you can have reconnaissance, you can have a rapid action technological system that, you know, if people around there have a certain number, shortly they can press on their phone, they will get real support, real time and all of that. But if you don't have the will to stop it, and also have intercommunal community settlement mechanism, we will not. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they told me that this is ethnic cleansing happening. And we should not allow that in Nigeria because nobody is more Nigerian than the other.
Yeah, certainly. All right, I think that's that about. Except if you have any other thing that you want to add for us before we wrap up.
Elderly care bill. I keep talking about the lawmakers pass a bill to you to help everyone. And secondly, go out there, pick up this day newspaper and read behind the figures back page editorial by Ijoma Nwogugu. It's called The Game of Thrones. It's about the internal boardroom fight. Maybe one of these days we will dedicate this to business and analysis. Okay. Internal boardroom fight between and Femi Otedola. Now, over the weekend, about today could spend about 80 billion, over 80 billion. He shelled out that money to be shares of First Bank, making him the largest shareholder in First Bank now as we speak. He showed Femi Otedola, and Femi Otedola is saying, he's talking to other stakeholders that they're going to fight for the soul of the bank. So interesting insights. Even one former editor of this day, former MD of Arise TV, puts it very succinctly. Love and read that editorial. Powerful.
All right, we will do that. Thank you very much for your wonderful insight on these topics that we have today. We're able to cover a lot today.
Bless you, and hope next time when I come to Abuja, I'll see you and eat the lovely Romeo's pizza together.
No problem. Thank you very much for that. Do have a wonderful day ahead. All right, Abuja, that was our guest, Mr. Rufai Useni, who has given us insight on what we should expect and some perspective to the headlines that we have for today. And I think we have yes, we have 2 more minutes. If at all you have anything you want to share with us this morning, you want to say anything, you want to comment on any of the headlines that we have looked at this morning, do well to call. The studio line is free and active, 0700 010 961 961, 0700 010 961 961. That is the number to call and get through to us in the studio. And don't forget, you can follow us on our social media handle at VOP961 on Twitter and Instagram. We're also live on YouTube. Whatever we're doing here now, you can watch me live as I talk to you live from the studio of VOP 96.1 FM Abuja. Do well to share, comment, and also like and subscribe to all our social media handles so that you stay informed and also be involved in the decision making. That is why we are here. Voice of the People is a station that was created because of you in mind. We have you in mind, and that is why we are here, to give you the voice. It is not just okay for you to remain at home or in your office or at your comfort zone to complain about what is happening or to suggest on what government need to do or what people need to do. Do well to pick up your phone. If you call us, you amplify your voice and you also get to be heard. You never can tell who is listening to you. You never can tell what that advice of yours can do to someone listening. You could help a soul get out of trouble by calling the studio line whenever we are here. A lot of content for you, carefully designed to suit you, our listener. Do well to stay with us, and that is the much we can take on today's front page review, Monday edition, 10th July 2022. Do well to stay with us. We have more lined up for you. At 8 o'clock will be time for Igbo Amaka front pages review, but in Igbo language. So do well to stay, because you will certainly enjoy, especially if you are an Igbo speaker.